In this episode, I'm going to explain the 4 beliefs that ambitious women have that keep them stuck in the narcissistic cycle and the reframes that you need in order to help you leave the trauma bond. Hey, and welcome back to the episode. I'm so glad you're here because this episode is made for a very specific type of woman. This is for the woman who just doesn't quit, who is ambitious and high functioning. She is the one who figures things out. She has overcome things that would have stopped most people in their tracks. And she's done it with her intelligence and her research and her will. She is that woman. And she is completely baffled by the fact that she cannot seem to get herself out of a relationship for good that she knows is not good for her. If that sounds familiar, you are like so many of the women that I have the pleasure of speaking to from this podcast, on the free intro sessions that I hold, and the women that I have the honor of coaching in my programs. And so you are not alone in this. So if you are ambitious, if you are a high achiever, if you have read everything and researched till you were blue in the face, you know better than to go back to a relationship that's hurting you. You have made your pros and cons list probably more than once, yet you still find yourself being pulled back in. This episode is for you because ambitious women have certain beliefs that have been superpowers in other areas of your life, but are acting like the kryptonite in terms of the trauma bond that you have found yourself in. So today we're going to walk through what those 4 beliefs are and the reframes that you need in order to help begin to get yourself out of the trauma bond that you've been stuck in. I know you've spent a lot of time trying to understand him, so this is going to give you some understanding about you. I'm so excited to dive into this with you. And be sure to stick around to the end of the episode. I always pull an oracle card. This offers you a message that you can use this week as you move through your healing. Okay, so let's take a deep breath and begin. Okay, so let's start with the first belief. The first belief that ambitious women have is, I can figure this out. Intelligence and effort have been, again, your superpowers, have been your solution, have been the way that you have made a living for yourself, how you have given yourself the things that you want. You have proven to yourself throughout your life that if you work harder, learn more, that you will then be given the answer, right? You'll find the answer. And so likely you have been doing this, going down the YouTube rabbit holes, the podcast rabbit holes around trauma bonds, narcissists, codependency, attachment styles, how to communicate, right? You are just like trying to find the answer that is going to solve the problem of the relationship. The problem here is that a trauma bond is not something you can think your way out of. And so it really mocks this effort because you're trying and you're trying and you're trying, yet you still feel out of control. You're still picking up the phone after a couple of weeks of going no contact. You're still going down memory lane through the camera roll on your phone and missing him. You're still doing these things that are feeling like they keep you tethered to him, even though you know better. So you're trying to figure out this problem using your intellect, but you can't change the behavior that you're doing. And that gap between what you know and what you do is intolerable to a woman who's really built your identity and your life and your success on being able to figure things out. So you have a natural tendency to just try harder, to just research more, to just learn more so that you can figure out the problem. And the problem is not that you're not smart and that you're not trying hard enough. It's that the trauma bond cannot be solved from an intellectual place. So that is the first belief. I can figure this out. The second belief is, I can help him change. Are there any other fixers and rescuers out there? Because I resonate with all of these, but fixing and changing things and people in order to feel safe was literally my template as a child. And so this one resonates really deeply for me. What is mixed into this of if I can help him change, I can help him get there. He's almost there. He's almost there. He's named his potential. He's named these changes that he wants to make. I see it. I see the mountaintop for him. I'm going to be his Sherpa and take him to the mountaintop. And part of you is likely thinking, well, I've invested years into this person at this point, and he is so damn close. He is so damn close that if I don't help him get to the mountaintop, if I don't help him actually change, then two things are going to happen. The first is that you're going to see it as giving up, right? You're going to see it as I failed at this task that I have been putting my blood, sweat, tears, soul into for 5, 10, 15 years. And the second is a fear that if you give up, quote unquote, if you call it quits before he's reached his potential, and then he moves on to another woman and reaches that potential, that she gets to benefit of living on top of the mountain that you put him on your back in order to climb. So there's a part of you that, because that carrot has been dangling there for so long, you really see the return on your investment, to put this in business terms. I've invested years, I've invested tears, I've invested sacrificing my needs, walking on eggshells, biting my tongue, right? You have sacrificed all of these things. And to not get your return back on that feels like something that you're just not willing to do. You really want him to change, and you really feel like you specifically can be the one to help him change, like no one else has helped him change before. The third belief is I am strong and I should be able to do this. I cannot tell you the amount of clients that I've worked with who are cancer survivors, who have survived horrific traumas in their childhoods, who have overcome growing up poor and are now thriving as very wealthy people, ambitious people who specifically have been through something horrible, have a even deeper ingrained belief that I am strong enough to do anything, and I should be able to do this. So it can be really frustrating when you know your strength. You have all of this proof in your past about how you've overcome these massive obstacles, and yet no matter what you try, no matter what you do, things are not changing with your partner. Things are not getting better. You're falling back into this cycle. You can't withstand the no contact phase, right? You're just you're feeling very weak because you can't do this hard thing that your mind has proof that you've been able to do in the past in other areas of your life. The fourth belief is that you just need more willpower. This plays into the third belief of believing that you're strong and should be able to, but believing that you just need more willpower is a very slippery slope when you are in a trauma bond. Because again, trauma bonds are not intellectual. A trauma bond cycle has created a biochemical dependency on the other person for you to be able to feel relief. This is a bond that's starting at the body and the nervous system level. So the more that you try to white knuckle and grip your way through the withdrawal period, when you separate and you're like, I can do it this time. I'm not going to reach out to him. I'm not going to restart. I'm not going to believe the promise. I'm not going to look at the pictures. If you believe that you just need to try harder not to do that, and you're not addressing the nervous system drive that is making you do that in order to find safety, you're going to keep feeling like you're failing. You're going to keep reaching for the thing, him in this case, that is going to give you that short-term relief because the discomfort gets so large. If you think about a person who is going through a withdrawal from alcohol, let's say, if you take away the alcohol, but you don't replace that with something else that can comfort the person that's been using alcohol to get out of their discomfort, they're going to go back to the alcohol. We can't take away a coping mechanism and not replace it with something else when it's on a biochemical level in the body. So you needing more willpower is not the problem, but it makes sense on why you think your grit, you think your tenacity, you think your mental strength should be able to get you through this because it has worked for you in the past. Likely you have really given yourself a successful career with those traits. So these beliefs are superpowers, and they're just being used in the wrong context, which is why they are hindering your ability to get out of the narcissistic cycle and the trauma bond. So what are the reframes? How can we take these superpowers and make them work for you now? With the first belief of, I can figure this out. We really want to honor that you are a problem solver. You've just been focusing on the wrong problem. You've been focusing on him and figuring out the dynamic and the personality traits and what's happening between you. And the more that you try to solve something that is not working, the more feelings of failure you have, the more panic that gets ramped up, the more dysregulated your system becomes. And when you're dysregulated, you actually limit capacity in your rational brain, because all capacity is going to the survival part of your brain that's like, I sense a threat, and that it keeps you in that activated state to be able to get away from the threat. So two things need to happen. The first is regulating the nervous system so you can come out of that panic state. The second is then shifting focus from him to you. Figuring him out is not a problem that you can solve. So the more that you can focus on you and turn all of your energy into understanding what's going on for you in your nervous system, in your emotional patterns, in the places of you that are keeping you entangled in this relationship, that is where you're going to close the gap between what you know and what you do. So you can shift, I can figure this out, that belief, into I can figure me out, because you have full control. When you have the right support system that can help you go on that journey, you will have so much clarity around yourself and what's happening, along with doing the nervous system regulation techniques. And that will give you the tools that you need in order to change your beliefs and therefore your behavior and therefore your reality. So changing, I can figure this out, into I can figure me out. The second belief of I can help him change. Behind this belief, I believe, is really the fear of failing and having to lose out on something that you've invested, again, your years of heart, sweat, tears, soul into. And so it makes sense that there's a part of you that's thinking about like, oh God, if we stop, then we've failed. And I don't get this happy life that I've been working so hard for. And I want you to gently acknowledge that part of you with also a new invitation to think about, it's not a matter of failing. It's a matter of cutting your losses before you've invested more. So before you've given him more months or more years of your sanity, of your physical health taking a toll, of your mental health declining, right? This is like you keep pouring yourself into something that feels like a never-ending pit. So the more you can see this as, okay, this is not me failing. This is me actually making the conscious decision to stop investing in something that's not investable. Investable? I don't know what the right term for that is. Something that's not going to give me the return that I want. The more that you try to change him, the more that you put your energy into changing him, doesn't equal more change, because likely this person that you're with has no interest in changing, right? You've seen that cycle play out enough times. And so all that means is it's a more dysregulation for you of trying harder and not getting the thing that you're trying for, which is adding to the feelings of failure and the feelings of panic. You want to change the belief of I can help him change into letting him go doesn't mean that I failed. It means that I chose to redirect my precious time and energy into what will actually bring me a return. It's a conscious way of redirecting your resources. Think about it this way, of if you invested in a business and that business repeatedly, month after month, year after year, was failing, despite you trying everything that you knew how, would you continue to invest in that business? Probably not. You would probably pull your money out of that and put it somewhere that would actually give you the return that you want. Okay, so to reframe the third belief of I'm strong and I should be able to do this, I want you to think about strength differently. So strength isn't about continuing to go harder and to kill yourself, pouring your energy into a strainer. Strength is really having the emotional awareness, the physical awareness that you have tried everything and that you've actually hit your limit of giving, that you've given too much. Strength is being able to step out of a game that you can't win, to acknowledge when you've hit your point of, all right, this game is not for me, and I'm choosing, again, to reclaim all of my energy and resources to be able to play a different game. I want you to shift the belief of, I'm strong and I should be able to do this, with, I am strong enough to accept that this is an unwinnable game. That doesn't mean that you are not smart enough or capable enough to win games. It's just that this specific game is an unwinnable game. And for the fourth belief of, I just need more willpower, again, I want to really gently remind you that you cannot think or white knuckle your way out of a trauma bond that is bonded in your nervous system, biochemically in your body. So what you need is nervous system support. What you need is safe people who understand, where you can begin to unpack and process what's happened. You need to replace the coping mechanism that he has become for you. So I want you to take the belief of, I just need more willpower, and shift that into, I just need the right tools. Now, what I want you to do with these reframes is to write them on a sticky note, or put one on each sticky note, and I want you to put these sticky notes everywhere. When I was going through this part of my journey of trying to wrap my head around like how to let go, who the hell I was, like really redefining who I was as a woman, I had sticky notes all over my house. And I actually have a funny story where there was a guy that came, he was coming to spray for bugs. Like I don't know, we did this quarterly or something. And he knocks on my door, and I forgot that he was coming that morning. And I was like, oh God, I didn't clean up my house because I didn't know how people were going to respond to seeing these sticky notes all over my house. And I lived alone. And so I was just sort of like, had the sticky notes all over. This was after I moved out of the house that I was at with my narcissistic ex. And so I let this guy in, and I'm sort of quietly crumbling in embarrassment inside my own body. And I'm sitting at the kitchen table while he's, going about the house and doing his thing. And he came back down and he's like, I really enjoyed your sticky notes. And I was like, oh God, now he's naming the thing. And I was like, thanks, they're really helpful for me. And he's like, it's really cool that you're that insightful and that mindful around things that you're trying to change. And I was like, wow. So it was a really cool, disarming moment of somebody seeing the value in how that was so valuable to me. So super side note, but that's why I'm a big fan of sticky notes. Still have them all over my office right now. Things that I'm thinking about, things that I'm trying to wrap my head differently around, it's really helpful to see those more of the time, because what's out of sight is totally out of mind. So put them in sight. When you see something over and over again, it helps to move you towards the door that you can then open to do the deeper work around the beliefs. So the door that would take you down the aligned action to be able to really repattern these beliefs. Because if just seeing something on a sticky note changed the way we thought and believed, all therapists would be out of business, all coaches would be out of business, right? It's like, I wish it was that easy, but it takes more nervous system work. It takes a really safe container for you to be witnessed in these beliefs, to be able to tend to them in the way that's going to help them actually lose their energetic charge for you. And that's really what I'm doing with clients. So what I'm doing inside my programs is the deeper emotional and belief and nervous system work that is keeping them stuck, so that you can go from knowing to doing and feel like you're succeeding again at being the woman that you want to be. It is so freeing to redirect your energy from something that is this bottomless pit or this strainer into yourself and see the direct outcome of your effort. And I know that that is really satisfactory to you because as an ambitious woman, you want to see the outcome. You do want the ROI. You want to know that what you're doing is changing something, is making something different. I know that that's an important part for you. So in order to feel that, I really invite you to think about what would that be like to shift from him to me? And how can I begin to wrap my head around these beliefs so that I can then take an aligned action around doing the deeper work around these beliefs so I can get out of that stuck cycle that I'm in. And that is the work. That is the work. But it's not an impossible task. Your superpowers just need a little bit of a tweak in order to help you feel the successful outcome that you want. Okay, so let's recap the 4 new reframes that you are going to put on your sticky notes, that you're going to put on your mirror when you're brushing your teeth, you can look at it, that you're going to put in your office, that you can look at, you're going to put it on your microwave so that every time you warm up your coffee, you're going to see it. These are the 4 reframes. Number 1, I can figure me out. Number 2, letting him go doesn't mean I failed. It means I chose to redirect my precious time and energy into what will bring me the return I want. Number 3, I am strong enough to accept that this is an unwinnable game. And number 4, I just need the right tools. So after you listen to this, please go get your sticky notes. When you get home, when you're done cooking dinner, after you put the kids to bed, whatever you're doing, please go put these on sticky notes and put them everywhere. Okay, now to end, we're going to pull an oracle card. And I'm just going to start shuffling the deck here to see what is the message that wants to come out for the listener today. It is frog. Let me find frog in the book and I will read to you what it says. Frog visits you with a message to trust your intellect. He is an ancient knower and deeply sensitive to his environment. What you are thinking, experiencing, and knowing is not to be minimized or ignored. Write it down. Keep a journal. Gather your data. Use your mind. Trust your thinking. Don't let other people tell you what you know. Your knowledge and contribution are what is needed now. Now is not the time to hold back your thoughts. The answers you possess could shift your ecosystem in a positive and remarkable way. I hope this episode was helpful for you to help you see and acknowledge and be really grateful for these superpowers and also see how you can make them work for you. So until I see you in the next episode, please remember that you are not alone.